Okay. Hey Gimel. Replied Rabbi Akiva to him, your words are acceptable in the case of the small Me'ilah. But what if he is guilty of a doubtful case of Me'ilah and 100 mana? Is it not better for him that we bring an Asham for 2 Salem and not bring a doubtful restitution of 100 mana? Rabbi Akiva then agrees with Red Tarfon in the case of a small Me'ilah. If a woman brought a bird katos of doubt, if it became known to her before its neck was snapped that she had definitely given birth, she must make it an unconditional katos for from the same species, but from which she brings an obligation of doubt. She brings it for an obligation of certainty. If there was a piece of ordinary meat and a piece of sanctified meat, if he ate one of them but did not know which one of them he ate, he's exempt. Rabbi Akiva holds him liable to an asham talu. If he ate the second piece, he must bring an unconditional asham. If one person ate the first piece and another ate the second, and a person came and ate the second piece, this one must bring an asham tula, and one must bring an asham talu. These are the words of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Shimon says they both bring one asham. And Rabbi Yossi says 2 do not bring one asham. If there was a piece of ordinary meat and a piece of kalev, if one ate one of them and does not know which one of them he ate, he must bring an asham tula. Asham talim. Well, if he ate the second piece, he must bring a katos. If one person ate the first piece and another came and ate the second piece, this one must bring an asham, and that one must bring an asham to Allah. And these are the words of Rabbi Akiva. No, that's taken out.
We did that, yes.
Rabbi Shimon says they both bring one katos. Rabbi Yossi says 2 do not bring one katos. Okay.
Okay, so more cases like this, all following the same kind of pattern. There are 2 pieces, and he ate one of them, and we explore all the different possibilities over here. Chaticha shel chaylev, chaticha shel kodesh. So the 2 things now are chaylev and kodesh. The chaylev is just stam isokare kares, and the other piece is kodesh, which requires an asham me'ilos, right? Because it's me'ilah. Okay, so achal achas mehen ve'en yodoa eiz mehen achal. So he doesn't know whether he's chayav a chatas or whether he's chayav an asham. Okay, so maybe asham taloi. Here he brings the asham taloi because of the chatas that he might or might not have eaten. But in terms of the asham taloi, he doesn't he doesn't need to bring something for. Although if Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Akiva does hold that he needs to bring an asham taloi for potential me'ilah, but it doesn't matter because he's already chayav an asham taloi because of the chatas. So Rabbi Akiva doesn't need to say anything extra here. Achal is a shnia, maybe chatas for asham vadai. If he ate the second one, then yeah, he brings a chatas and an asham vadai because we know exactly what he ate. Achal echad is a rishana, uba acher achal is a shnia. So whenever we have this case of 2 different people ate the 2 different pieces and we're not sure what each one ate, there may be asham taloi. Each one brings an asham taloi because they may have eaten the chatas, but there may be asham taloi, okay, Rabbi Shimon Omer Shneim Meviim Chatas v'Asham. Says between the 2 of them, we know that there's a chatas involved and there's an asham involved. To let them both bring the korbanos together and make it tonight when they sacrifice it. And once again, Rabbi Yossi disagrees with Rabbi Shimon. Says Ein Shneim Meviim Chatas v'Asham. You can't have 2 people bringing a korban together. We don't accept the conditional statement of whoever it belongs to. Yeah. Chaticha shel chaylev and chaticha shel chaylev kodesh. Okay, so we've changed the subject again. So both pieces are chaylev, but one of them was also kodesh. Okay, achal achas mehen ve'ein yadoa eiz mehen achal. Okay, so well, clearly he's definitely eaten chaylev. So maybe chatas. He's got to bring a chatas, no question. But Rabbi Akiva says, but there's also a doubt of a me'ilah in here. Omar, so he also says maybe asham taloi. So he says also an asham taloi. Achal is a shnia. He ate the second one. Maybe shtei chatas, but asham vadai. He has to bring 2 chatas, assuming this is in 2 separate sittings. Because if it was just one helem, then he only brings 1 chatas because it's the same chait.
Right.
This is obviously in 2 different sittings that he had this, and 2 different ideas. Let's say that he forgot what this was. Okay, then he has to bring 2 chatas and 1 asham vadai because he definitely committed me'ilah. Okay, achal echad es harishona uba acher ve'achal es hashnia. So if each one brings if each one eats one of the pieces and we're not sure who ate what, ze mevi chatas ve ze mevi chatas. So both of them obviously liable to a chatas. And Rabbi Akiva again says ze mevi ashem taloi ve ze mevi ashem taloi. He says they also need to bring the taloi. Rabbi Shimon Omer ze chatas ve ze chatas. Right? Everyone agrees each one needs to bring a chatas. Shneim mevi ashem echad. And the two people bring the one asham for the me'ilas. Rabbi Yossi Omer ein shneim meviim ashem echad. Again, the same pattern. Rabbi Yossi disagrees with Rabbi Shimon. You can't have two people bringing one asham. And finally, chaticha shel chelev v'chaticha shel chelev nosar. Okay, so once again, it's the same sort of pattern where you've got both two pieces of chelev, but instead of it being kodesh, it's now nosar. It's left over from a korban, which means it's not allowed to go on the mizbeach at all. Okay. Achal achas mehen. He ate one of them. En yodeh ezer mehen achal. Maybe chatas v'asham taloi. So he definitely has to bring a chatas for the chelev, but he's not sure if he also ate nosar. Or nosar is also kares. So there's an asham taloi involved. Achal es hashniya. If he eats the second one, maybe shalosh chataos. Now he has to bring three different chataos. One for chelev, one for chelev, one for nosar. Achal echad es harishona ba'acher ve'achad es hashniya. Ze maybe chatas v'ashem taloi, v'ze maybe chatas v'ashem taloi. So each one of them individually takes on the din of the one person who ate one of them, and it's one chatas and one ashem taloi for each of them. Rabbi Shimon Omer ze chatas v'shneim maybe chatas achas. So again, the two of them can jointly bring one chatas. Now, Rabbi Yossi summarizes his statements. Kol chatas hi ba'al chait ein shnayim mevi'in osa. He says when there's a chatas that comes for a chait, you cannot have two people bringing it. So that summarizes his view throughout the perek. But what he is saying is that if there's a chatas that doesn't come for a chait, so let's say for birth, when you have a chatas that's coming for a birth where two women are not sure if they so if two women miscarried, one of them miscarried a vada and one of them miscarried a safek, and the two miscarriages got mixed up, so we don't know which woman gave birth to what thing, but we know that there's definitely a baby in there. So these two women could jointly bring a bird chatas and say whoever it belongs to, this is for them, and that Rabbi Yossi concedes can work. But when it's something that comes for a chait, not for a birth is not a chait. Okay, so when it comes to a chait, then it has to be brought vadai by that person. You can't have two people coming and jointly bringing it.
Okay. Go back to base solid. Four lack atonement offerings and 4 bring offerings for intentional as well as inadvertent transgressions. These are the ones who lack atonement offerings: the zava, the woman who has given birth, and the mitzora. Reb Eliezer ben Yaakov says a proselyte too lacks atonement until the blood is sprinkled for him, and so does a nazir for his wine, his hair cutting, and his tumah. These bring an offering for his intentional as well as an inadvertent transgression, and he who cohabitates with a betrothed maidservant, the nazir who became tamei for the author of the testimony and the author of the deposit. 5 bring an offering for many transgressions, and 5 bring an variable offering. These bring a single offering for many transgressions. He who cohabitates with a slave woman many times, and nazir became tamei many times. He who warned his wife concerning many men, and a mitzora who became afflicted with many lesions. If he brought his birds and was then again afflicted, they do not count for him until he brings his katos. And Rabbi Yeshua says until he brings asham. Okay, that's it.
Until he brings his asham, correct? Yes.
And then we are on to
in Aleph Gimel.
A moribund person and the one being taken out to be executed cannot have his worth vowed or be subject of an Eric vow. The Kenita ben Akavah says he may be the subject of an Eric vow because his price is fixed, but his worth may not be vowed because his price is not fixed. Rabbi Yossi says he may, however, vow someone's worth, declare an Eric vow, and consecrate. And if he damages, he is obligated to make restitution. If a woman is being taken out to be executed, we do not wait for her to give birth. If she sat upon the birth stool, we must wait for her to give birth. If a woman was executed, we may benefit from her hair, and if an animal was put to death, any benefit from it is forbidden. There is no eric which is less than a seller, nor more than 50 seller. How so? If he gave a seller and then became wealthy, he gives nothing. If he gave us less than a seller and he became wealthy, he must give 50 seller. If he had in his hands 5 seller, the mayor says he needs only give 1, but it could come and say he must give them all. There is no eric less than a seller, no more than 50 seller. There is no returning to the beginning of the neither cycle for one who has erred in her calculations in less than 7 days, nor in more than 17 days. There is no confinement of negayim for less than 1 week and not for more than 3 weeks. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. If the cloth garment was taken outside the curtains, he should re-enter with it and wash it in the holy place. If it was contaminated with tumor outside the curtains, he should rip it and then re-enter and wash it in a holy place. If the earthenware vessel was taken outside the curtains, he should re-enter with it and break it in a holy place. If it was contaminated with tumor outside the curtains, he should puncture it and then re-enter and break it in a holy place. If the copper vessel was taken outside the curtains, he should re-enter with it and purge and rinse it in a holy place. If it was contaminated with tumor outside the curtains, he should re-enter and purge and rinse it in a holy place. Whether one cooked it in or poured hot liquid onto it, whether it is the most meat, it was the meat of the most holy offerings or the offerings of lesser holiness, they require purging and rinsing. And Reb Shimon says offerings of lesser holiness do not require purging and rinsing. Reb Tarfon says if one cooked in it from the beginning of the festival, he may continue to cook in it for the entire festival. But the comments say with the inclusion of the period of eating from comes the requirement of purging and rinsing. And purging is one purges a cup, and rinsing it as one purges a cup. Purging is done with the hot water, and rinsing is with cold water. The spit and the grill are purged in hot water. Yeah. If one
done. Yep.
We have Baba Kama, Zion Hay. If he sold it except for 1/100th of it, or if he had joint ownership in it, if he sorted it and became disqualified, if he pierced his nostrils and tore out the throat organs, he pays a 2-fold payment, but he does not pay the 4-fold or 5-fold payment. If one stole in the owner's premises and slaughtered it or sold it outside the premises, or if he stole outside the premises and slaughtered it or sold within their premises, or if he stole and slaughtered it outside the premises, he pays the 4-fold and 5-fold payment. But if he stole and slaughtered or sold in the premises, he is exempt. If he was taken out by dragging and it died in the premises of the owner, he is exempt. If he lifted it or he took it out of the owner's premises and it died, he's liable. If he gave it for the redemption of his firstborn son or to his creditor, to an unpaid guardian, to a borrower, to a paid guardian, or to a renter, he was dragging it and he died on the premises of the owners, he's exempt. If he lifted it and took it out of the owner's premises and it died, he's liable. We may not raise small cattle in Eretz Yisrael, but we may raise them in Syria or in wilderness better in Eretz Yisrael. We may not raise chickens in Yerushalayim because they're consecrated things, but nor may Kohanim throughout all Eretz Yisrael because they're ritually clean foods. If one wounds another, he becomes liable to hire for 5 categories.
Oh, no, that's it. Yeah, we're done. That's 3. Yeah. Okay, Erevin. Chesayin.
If a canal passes through a courtyard, we may not draw water from it on the Sabbath, unless they made a partition 10 tefachim high at the inlet and at the outlet. Rabbi Yehuda says the wall over it is considered a partition. Said Rabbi Yehuda, it happened that there was a canal in Avel, from which they drew water on the Sabbath upon the ruling of the sages. They answered him because they did not have the minimum dimensions. If a balcony is above the water, we may not draw water from it on the Sabbath, unless they made a partition 10 tefachim high for it either from above or below. Similarly, 2 balconies, one above the other, if they made a partition for the upper one but did not make one for the lower one, both are prohibited unless they make an error. If a courtyard is less than 4 cubits high, we may pour water into it on the Sabbath, unless they made a pit into which it can hold 2 saw below the opening, and whether on the outside or on the inside. Except that on the outside, it must cover it, whereas on the inside, it need not cover it. Eliezer ben Yaakov says
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 3.
Going faster than I thought. Just trying to get you to share.
No, we got a good start. Got a good early start, and the Mishnahs today weren't that long to explain.
Yeah, a woman had 5 tummy shades of blood: red, black, a shade similar to the radiance of crocus, a shade similar to earth waters, and a shade similar to diluted wine. Beit Shammai say also a shade similar to fenugreek waters and similar to the juices of roasted meat, while Beis Hillel declared these shades tahor. The color yellow, Akiva ben Manalal declares a tame, while the sages declare a tahor. Red Meir says even if it is yellow blood, does not convey tumah as a blood stain; it conveys tumah as a liquid. Rabbi Yossi says it conveys tumah neither in this manner nor that manner. Which shade is red? Similar to the blood of a wound. Which shade is black? Similar to the keris. Deeper than this tame, weaker than this is tahor. Which shade is like the shade of the radiance of crocus? Similar to the most brilliant part of it, which shade is like earth and waters. They produce one when one takes soil from the valley of Ben Karam and floats it upon it. Which shade is diluted wine? 2 parts water and 1 part wine of Sharon water. Sharon wine. One more. If a woman expels a formless mass, if there is a blood with it, it's tummy. She's tummy. But if not, she is tahor. The reviewer says in either case, she is tummy.
Okay.
Okay.
But
All right. You can take your time. You can take your time and walk slow.
I'll make it.
Have a great day. See you tomorrow.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.